So you want to know what your kids have been learning in school of late? Well, we've got a shocking video that's come out which demonstrates, ironically, precisely why homeschooling is surging throughout the nation. We're going to see what's really going on in our school classrooms, and we're going to see why the future of education is found in the very faith that was expelled from public schools decades ago. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, patrons all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, a happy Monday to each and every one of you. I am your Patriot Professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And you know what else I want you to do, right? I want you to stick it to woke cancel culture by clicking on that link below and supporting our dear friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow. As you know, Walmart stores have canceled Mike's products from their shelves, and so our support for this amazing patriot is now more important than ever. And Mike is showing that love back, as he always does. He's a patriot. He's giving us his lowest prices ever if you use my code Turley. So normally the classic MyPillow is $69.98, but you can get yours for just $19.98. And that applies to over 200 products in their catalog. Again, use code Turley. So don't wait. Click on that link below. Get one for yourself. Get one for the patriots in your life. Let's support our dear friend Mike Lindell. And let's get the best sleep of our lives in the process, right? It's a win-win. All right, guys, let's dive right in here. The Libs of TikTok channel has a new video up that I think is very instructive in terms of what we're really dealing with here in terms of the woke culture wars. Here's the video that's turned so many heads over the last couple of days. So as you can see, with the limited information that we have, this is a high school teacher who, according to Libs of TikTok, performs drag queen shows at pride events and obviously brings that passion into his classroom, as we can clearly see. Now, I want to answer a number of questions that have popped up in the comments surrounding this video, like, why aren't these kids just learning math and reading and science and the like, right? Why are they being indoctrinated like this in this far left woke ideology? Or the more commonly, what on earth has happened to our schools? And I think this video is so instructive because everything we need to know in terms of what's happened to our schools is right there in this video from the Libs of TikTok. Right there, right in front of our very eyes. As I'm sure most of you know, back in June of 1962, the United States Supreme Court declared that a school prayer approved by the New York Board of Regents violated the First Amendment and their conception of the relationship between church and state. In many respects, it was an absurd ruling, claiming that any hint of public prayer inside a school somehow magically transformed the school into a church. But regardless, 1962, the Supreme Court tosses out prayer. Then, the following year, in 1963, the court threw out Bible readings in the classroom as well. And again, the argument was basically the same. Religion does not belong in the public square, most particularly in public schools. Church and state are to be absolutely separated. That's when the infamous wall of separation between church and state, which, by the way, emphatically is not in the Constitution. The phrase comes from a letter written by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptists in 1802. And remember, Jefferson did not write the Constitution, okay? But regardless, the reigning sentiment among our political elite, our governing aristocracy, was that religion was to have no place in our classrooms whatsoever. Now, fast forward 60 years later, and you have this video and a number of videos like it that we know now because of the Libs of TikTok, showing that school children are being indoctrinated in radical leftist ideology by their teachers. And the reason for that is very simple. Ideology is the secularized faith that fills the vacuum left by the expulsion of historic traditional religion. Said differently, ideology is simply secularized religion. Ironically, as it turns out, the Supreme Court did not ban religion from the classroom back in the 1960s. It merely replaced the Christian religion with a highly secularized religion, namely ideology, or more specifically, the ideology of liberalism, the notion that a moral and conscientious society is obligated to emancipate populations from historic religious traditions that our secularized elite now deem to be oppressive and intolerant. And by the way, that includes the traditional family. They hate that too. Scholars who have studied the history of ideology recognize that ideology, which is generally defined as a human-invented ultimate value system that seeks to guide human thinking and action towards a singular goal or purpose, scholars have noted that the term ideology actually derives from the French Revolution and the expulsion of the Catholic Church from the public square. Without the meta-narrative, the ultimate value system provided by the church, the French recognized that society would collapse. And that's because from a cultural anthropological perspective, there would be no sacred. And the sacred is a technical term anthropologists use to connote the rules, understandings, and goals, the value system that societies consider to be absolute and unquestionable, without which there's no possibility of social order. The society itself would, in effect, collapse. And so French intellectuals in the 19th century argued for secular values as a replacement for the historic religions. And interestingly, the key ideology of the new French Republic was summarized in the terms liberté and égalité, liberty and equality, which of course have since what? They've split apart into each of their own mutually exclusive ideologies. So today it's now liberty versus equality, because equality has been redefined as equity, meaning equality of outcome, which is the exact opposite of liberty, since the equality of outcome requires radical social engineering. So anyway, this is why Jordan Peterson refers to ideologies as simply crippled religions. He's also referred to ideologies as parasites of religions. They're secular substitutes for the ultimate value systems that historically ordered social life by virtue of the great civilizational religions. And here in the United States, what we too often forget is that civil rights activism was originally very much tied to the Christian church, particularly the black church. And as such, activism acquired literally all kinds of liturgical expression. So that's why you see in this teacher's classroom all kinds of icons. The pride flag and colors and the like are iconographic of an ideology of liberalism and emancipation. You see, too, that drag queen shows are indeed interpreted by cultural anthropologists as a kind of ritual. It's a ritual personal transformation that awakens a sense of empowerment and acceptance among its ritual participants. All of this is to say that our governing aristocracy, whether in the form of the Supreme Court or just the dolts in D.C. in general, all of them were far more foolish than we could have ever imagined. I have no doubt that they actually believed you could create a religiously neutral public sphere. But what we're seeing is a clear indication of just how utterly foolhardy that endeavor was. And the result? Well, again, ironically, this new ideology that's taken over our public schools is actually in the process of destroying those very schools as more and more parents pull their kids out. Now, this topic may be bringing up some questions for you, and I want to hear those questions, plus your own thoughts on all this, but without the threat of big tech censorship. So don't forget that Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, you're invited to join me and hundreds of like-minded patriots in my exclusive Insiders Club live stream, where I answer your questions. We dive deep into topics just like this for 90 minutes every single week. So just click on that link in the description below to sign up for less than the price of a cup of coffee per day. And I can't wait to see you live on Monday nights. So I don't know how many of you heard about this. This was amazing. It's a Christian school in Leesburg, Virginia, has just opened up, where they plan to have their first classes in the fall of 2023. Already, having not even opened their doors, they have over 2,500 enrollment applications. This is stunning, but it's not a coincidence. You see, if you don't know, Leesburg is right smack in the heart of Loudoun County. And Loudoun County was right smack in the middle of the national parental uprising against school boards that were pushing far-left ideologies in their kids, like CRT and transgender stuff and the like. So it's no coincidence that we're seeing this massive surge in parents pulling their kids out of these ideologically imprisoned public schools and sending them instead to Christian schools like this one in Leesburg. And it's not just Christian schools. Homeschooling itself continues to surge. Remember, homeschooling shot up 700% in some areas during the whole lockdown period. And while so-called experts thought all the students would just magically return to the schools once they opened up again, they didn't. Only about 17% of those students came back to the public schools. And this is all on the heels of the massive success we've been seeing with school choice initiatives throughout the entire nation. As we speak, at least 50 school choice bills have been introduced in 30 states so far, designed to create or expand vouchers or tax credit scholarships or education savings accounts, among other measures. To date, 10 states have proposed 5 new programs, and 10 states have expanded existing programs. All told, there are now more than 30 states, more than half the union, that offer school choice programs to parents and students, such that the teachers' unions are fast becoming an endangered species, and thank God for that. So there you are, gang. As our public schools become more and more breeding grounds for far-left ideologies, which are nothing more than crippled versions of the historic religions that used to bind us together as a unified people, more and more parents are turning to the educational options offered precisely by that expelled historic religion. Now, before you go, you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on the most amazing thing Jordan Peterson ever said. Yes, that's quite the claim, but I back it up. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless.